know. Exterior, red square, winter. The whole crew wants to get their hands up.
Tell them we'll give them $25 American and a carton of Marlboros to take the clamp off right now. Otherwise, we'll see them in court.
Cut. Fred, good.
Very nice.
I was asking around if I was like, you know, if I'm any kind of celebrity here. And by videotape, yes, but even then, very, very few of them, just because the whole Russian language barrier thing doesn't mean an awful lot of the American media culture has been able to translate.
While other directors work on this studio, Robert Zemeckis doesn't want to lose his time. His project passed away. Tom has to lose a lot of weight.
That's the story around the world.
That's it.
The funny thing about it, it doesn't say you're in Moscow.
It doesn't say you're in Moscow.
Isn't that funny?
It is funny.
There's some reporter sitting somewhere who has no idea.
No idea that
He's
you're
probably like right down the street here, writing that, getting it off the internet like half asleep.
Oh, look, it's the Bob Zemeckis feed.
Could have
How do Russians read papers with big gloves?
What's weird about working in Russia is that you can't make out anything. The signs, the words, nothing. If you're in Italy or France or something, you can kind of figure out some of the words. But in Russia, you need an interpreter for everything.
This can make a real adjustment.
Вам надо сделать не один, а двумя.
I need an interpreter. Tell them we'll go back to the shot in the restaurant again. And action time. Nikolai, tick-tock!
That's the great adventure of making movies, is you get to go off and, you know, I've never been to Russia, I've never been to Red Square. The first time I went there was because the hotel I was staying at was right across the bridge. I had a view of it from my oh, there's where we're going to shoot tomorrow. I mean, this is the thing also, too, about making movies with Bob. Bob isn't going to plan for the idea of making a movie. I mean, I said, well, how are we going to do that? How are we going to get into Red Square in order to shoot the scene? Oh, we'll take the trucks to Red Square. We'll set them up right there. I always forget that Bob is able to not be intimidated by that.
Do we like the way these trucks look? Well, they both got to be forward because the sword's going backwards.
Right.
Yeah, we shut down Red Square, meaning, you know, only people that were walking in here were our people. I have something to tell you about Red Square. I was here scouting Red Square. I said, we're going to be able to shut down Red Square and shoot here. And they said, yes, as long as that flag isn't red. And I said, okay, very cool.
The plane crash, we wanted to look absolutely real, which would make it more terrifying. So we did it at night, and we lit it only by the fire of the burning fuel and the lightning, and there was no like movie lighting or anything like that.
What did they do better? Why?
Nothing. We're done. We got it. We got it.
Check the gate?
Check the gate. All right, guys, we're gonna check the gate.
It's very physical. I mean, you're being yanked around, and there's a lot of air blowing on you. There's water that you gotta deal with. It's kind of like going through a big jungle gym every day. It's what do I get to do today?
And water!
If all of acting is taking these small snippets of real time and cutting them up and putting them all together, acting in a scene like that, you're working the smallest snippets. You really are. It's like 7 seconds here and 3 seconds here and 5 seconds there.
And cut.
The worst thing that happened to Chuck was his plane. He survived a plane crash. If it had just been that, if he had been rescued 2 days later, well, then I think he'd be haunted by that plane crash for the rest of his life. But the fact is, Chuck survived the plane crash, and then he survived the despair of total, you know, solitude and isolation for another 4 years.
We knew that the story took place in the Pacific because the Pacific was the largest body of nowhere you can be on Earth. We found the right island, and it turned out to be part of the Fijian Islands. It was still in the middle of nowhere as far as movie life, so yeah, we all kind of experienced what Chuck went through.
It was an extraordinary.
Yeah, it's Tom Hanks.
And
How
that island becomes
very
a
white.
really major character in the movie. It's like, in a way, Has
after
Tom Hanks and Helen
Tom,
Hunt
it was the
on it.
next important piece of casting.
It was actually a sacred island, so there was nothing, not one single thing man-made on the island ever. You know, I had to have like a little kava ceremony with the chiefs of the island. Our location manager, Mary, she had to do most of wining and dining of the local chieftains.
I had to go have a formal sabu-sabu in a Sulu and take kava, which is their ceremonial gift, and meet with them and offer prayers and request permission to look at the island and then explain to them the story of the movie and basically obtain permission of all the members of the family, which is about 80-some people. When Bob came back and he chose the island, we had invited the chief, the head man of the family, and his two other brothers and their spokesmen and their wives to come and have lunch with us and watch us film for the day.
When we're done with this shot here, we're going to be coming up here with a little more shade. You can see a little better. So everyone enjoying themselves? Did you have lunch? Right. All right. Well, thank you very much. Take care.
When the local chiefs and the tribes allowed us to shoot there, it was perfect. It worked for us great. Our biggest problem, of course, was having no infrastructure for the crew. It was about an hour-and-a-half boat ride from the nearest hotel or civilization to get to this island. Once you have cameras and movie equipment around sand, sun, and water, salt water especially, things move really slow. Even though we did have one incredibly cooperative actor.
This is a movie in which every scene, every day, we've tested by way of a cause and effect, sort of like theory. We were always saying, well, why is Chuck doing this today? He would always, and a lot of times we have negated what the plan was because he would have already figured out that thing we were going to shoot.
A year from now, we come back, and obviously very little changes on the island because it hasn't changed in billions of years. But Chuck has changed quite a bit when we come back next year, and you know, we'll continue his adventure.